my name's Brittany Switzer, and I feel like I've been following Progress since the very beginning, and they have really pushed Democrats in a way that many other organizations haven't been able to be more progressive on issues. And it's been really great to kind of watch them grow and watch them take on so many fights over the past decade.
It's Monday, April 7th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch. Rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Some folks are already calling it Black Monday. We call it a self-inflicted disaster of historic proportions, self-inflicted by one man with way too much power. And we lay the responsibility for the consequences at the feet of every American who voted for Donald Trump last November. As I'm recording this morning, the New York Times reports stocks around the world continuing their nosedive. The S&P 500 is poised to drop again as Trump doubles down on a tariff plan so nonsensical on its face that it almost appears a deliberate detonation of the world economy. So, what are Trump's bootlickers in Texas saying about all this? Greg Abbott continues crowing about vouchers on his social media, not a word about the tariffs. John Cornyn is silent on the crash as well. He's getting ready for a primary challenge from Ken Paxton, so no way he counters the dear leader right at the moment. Edward Helmore at The Guardian writes that Ted Cruz, feeling a little safer in his gig maybe, and, deep down harboring dark resentment over the repeated and deeply personal humiliations and degradations from Trump that he and his family have endured for years. Really, the better word there is embraced for years. Cruz did point out the obvious, which is that Republicans, should they do nothing to stop Trump's economic wrecking ball, will face a bloodbath in the 2026 midterm. Small solace today for your 401k. We encourage you once again not to look. Friday's drop in the Dow of just over 2,231 points is, as of this morning, the third largest single-day drop in the history of the index, with 3 days in March of 2020 at the outset of the COVID pandemic rounding out the top four. The good news is we got past those, and we'll get past this one too. We are witnessing a colossal failure of Republican leadership. They are all complicit, and the progressive movement must be the bearers of a better path for our country right now in this critical moment. One commonly referenced indicator of our economic health down here in Texas is the price of oil, and it ain't looking so healthy right at the moment either. More from the New York Times and Rebecca F. Elliott, who says U.S. oil prices fell sharply over the weekend, at one point below $60 a barrel on Sunday, hitting four-year lows as global markets continue to falter. Could mean cheaper gas in the short term, but if that continues, look for domestic oil and gas companies to slow drilling, cut production, cut spending, and lay off workers, many thousands of whom are hardcore Trump loyalists out in the Texas oil patch. We're no big fans of the petroleum sector, but it does represent a massive part of our state's economy, and in many ways, as it goes, so go the rest of us. Back to John Cornyn's situation for a moment, which is a big deal in D.C. for Republicans who are worried about the ramifications of a very expensive and bloody inter-party brawl between Cornyn and our AG, Ken Paxton. CNN reported over the weekend, it was their top story for a while, in fact, that Senate GOP leaders have personally been begging Donald Trump to back Cornyn, even as Paxton loudly and publicly belittles Cornyn for failing to sufficiently kiss Trump's ass in the past. Throw in also Houston Republican Congressman Wesley Hunt, who appears to want some as well, and the National Republican Party is staring at a Texas Senate primary race that could come with a price tag upwards of $100 million, money dumped into a supposedly safe red state that they could sure use for other critical battlegrounds, and resulting eventually in a battered and bruised nominee amidst a bitterly divided GOP base. All of this a definite opportunity for Democrats, should they come up with a truly world-class candidate for the U.S. Senate. Latest on the measles story, which is not going away. There's been a second measles death out in West Texas. Another unvaccinated young child. Kanishka Singh and Susan Heavey at Reuters say 8-year-old Daisy Hildebrand had no underlying health conditions and died of measles pulmonary failure last Thursday at UMC Health System in Lubbock. The second death may be finally getting the attention of even the obstinate Trump crew. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. visited the grieving family in Gaines County yesterday and even came out and spoke the truth at long last, tweeting, quote, "The most effective way to prevent the spread of measles is the MMR vaccine," unquote. Clearly too little too late for both of these dead kids and the almost 500 Texans who have been infected in the ongoing outbreak, 56 so far requiring hospitalization. We could see the measles situation as yet another wake-up call for Republicans, whose stock continues to drop ahead of the 26 midterms. If you'll pardon the expression, Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor and chair of the Senate Health Committee, also tweeted this weekend, quote, "Everyone should be vaccinated," unquote. Finally, this morning, we refer you back to a great talk we had over this weekend with Houston Democrat and State House Minority Leader Gene Wu and freshly elected Texas Democratic Party Chairman Kendall Scudder on the continued foot-dragging of Governor Greg Abbott on starting the process of a special election to fill the vacancy left in Houston's Congressional District 18 seat in the U.S. House, left in the wake of the passing of Congressman Sylvester Turner. Still nothing from the governor on that this morning, though he did finally speak up about it over the weekend to blame Harris County for his delay, citing what he calls a history of election problems in our most populous metro. This holds zero water with Tanisha Hudspeth, the chief elections officer in Harris County, who pushed back, saying her office is fully prepared to hold the election for the congressman's replacement. Juan Lozano at the Associated Press reminds us that in 2023, Governor Abbott signed a bill removing Harris County's elections administrator and transferring oversight of elections in the Houston area to Hudspeth in her office. Abbott's own solution for the issues he was targeting in the last legislative session is in place as we speak. The real reason for this delay is the single vote advantage that House Republicans gain with this seat empty, more important to them than the constitutionally guaranteed representation of almost 1 million mostly POC American voters. All of Houston and all Texas progressives should be fired up about this. Great talk, one click back on this feed. Progress Texas is proud to welcome San Antonio Mayor Ron Nierenberg as our guest for a live podcast taping and fundraising party on Tuesday, May 6th in San Antonio, and you're invited. We look forward to a long overdue and fun get-together with y'all at our Party for Progress in San Antonio. Mark that date, Tuesday, May 6th. Live pod taping with Mayor Ron Nierenberg and good fun with you. See the show notes and get your tickets right now. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the conservative disinformation machine, but they far outmatch us in funding. Oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups spend a lot of money keeping their audiences in the dark. If you've come to appreciate the light that we shine on important political news in Texas on a daily, ongoing basis, please know that our regular everyday listeners form a key component of our funding. If that's you, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate. Thanks to Scott Sisk, Rebecca Williams, and Beverly Wright, all of whom are on the team. We appreciate all of y'all very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Monday, April 7th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and a great week. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.